to other topics. What if your cat pees on the furniture or poops in an area not around the litter box? And I used to have, I have a friend that we used to call them protest poops, because that meant the cat was mad at you about something, and that was their way of expressing their displeasure. So I don't know if that's true or not. So tell us about it.
Well, we were at lunch the other day. Remember, we were talking about lunch. We were
yes,
talking about poop and pee,
right.
which is normal for a vet. But anyway, you hit the nail on the head, because previously we used to think cats peeing and pooping in inappropriate places was because they had a urinary tract infection. Mm-hmm. But now we're thinking it's more, I don't like it here. You brought in a new cat, you brought in a new dog. I really want to be outside. And there was a recent study in Britain, which we were talking about, which took these cats that were doing what you described and put them outside for, like an hour a day. 50% of them changed their behavior totally.
Okay.
So now we're thinking we maybe need to look at psychological issues. But before you do that, you've always got to rule out, do they have an infection? Do they not like to go in the litter box when there's already a little bit in there?
They're very fastidious.
Very fastidious. Keep
Okay.
it clean.
Yeah.
So you look at the easy things first before you declare the mental part of it.
How do you find a good pet sitter or temporary boarding facility? Because here's a thing, because I do pet sitting for certain friends, and one time I was watching a lady's dog when I lived out in California, and I wouldn't accept any money for her. But one time she did leave me some, and she said, "You do not know the peace of mind I have knowing that you're taking care of my animal."
Yeah.
And I would feel the same way, because I would be a nervous wreck.
Yeah.
So what are your recommendations, not only about somebody who comes to your house, but also temporary boarding facilities? And every now and then you hear these horrible things on the news about something catching fire, or there was one recently somewhere where there was flooding or something, and it affected some of the animals. So what are your recommendations for that?
References. You've got to talk to other people that have used a pet sitter or a grooming. Groomers included here.
Yeah,
Grooming
okay.
facility or kenneling, and if they've used them for years and been happy with them, I always do a meet and greet. Take the dog, cat, or cat in. Hey, this is so and so. This is how I like it, and you can observe if these people are animal lovers or not. What is difficult is when you find ads on social media, because you don't know if those reviews are tainted or genuine. So I would rather do word of mouth and actually observation.
I even do that with doctors. I mean, I won't go to somebody unless somebody I know
I agree.
goes to them.
I
So,
agree.
okay, that's kind of logical, but at the same time, I think it's good advice. And pet poison hotline, I don't know if we talked about that in the last, but that's really important. What if you think that your dog licked, antifreeze or something on the ground? What would you have to do right away?
Yeah, pet poison hotlines, fabulous.
Okay.
Because they will take you through, they will work with your veterinarian to manage that case all the way through from the beginning to the end. Okay, this is what you need to do. You need to get, lactic acid levels or give activated charcoal. So they don't just tell you, oh yeah, that's toxic, you better get to ER. They are with you, holding your hand the whole way.
Well,
Pet poison hotline is wonderful. And I believe pet owners can go on that as well.
Okay.
And there's nice articles on toxins and doses of chocolate that are toxic.
That's a very good point, because I don't know if there's still members of the populace out there that don't know that you should not give your dog chocolate or certain fruits or whatever. So that's probably something you could very easily Google and get that 800 number then.
Right, and also there was just a report from them about pool chemicals, talking about summer and dog exposure. That there was a dog that was poisoned by pool chemicals, and they brought the dog back out of it. So yeah, it's salt in the winter. I mean, it's always something that they're getting into.
Well, speaking of pools, I should have thought about that while we're talking about summer specifically, but how do you feel about dogs swimming in a chlorinated pool?
Well, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
I like them to be rinsed off afterward and dried. It's the heavy coated breeds, like some golden retrievers with a real heavy coat, or the
Collie or something.
Collie, yes.
Yeah.
You have to really get them dry, because if you don't, the normal bacteria that lives under all that fur starts to overgrow, and they'll get a, quote, hot spot.
Okay.
While we're on that subject of making sure they're dry, especially at this time of year when it's very hot, you need to make sure they're clean under that tail. because if even a little bit of poop is there, and I don't want to get gross about this, but flies will come and you will get, and usually at the end of August, early September, as veterinarians, we get maggot-infested dogs because no one ever looked under that tail, and that's what happens.
Yeah.
So heavy-coated breeds, you need to keep them very dry after you rinse them off from the pool, and also make sure you have a pool alarm, because you never want that dog to be out there while you're not out there.
Okay, that's good.
Pool alarm, and make sure the dog is really dry, rinsed off and dried thoroughly.
That's very good advice. I wouldn't have even thought about something like that.
Well, that's the dermatologist.
Yeah, okay. How do you feel about dogs actually living in a doghouse as opposed to being in a house? I mean, is that kind of the best situation for them? I mean, I wouldn't do it, but a lot of people do. So
I mean, I don't understand why you would have a dog unless you wanted to have a relationship with it. You know, why, especially dogs like golden retrievers, which love being around people. And when the rescue that I work with, Golden Treasures Rescue, when we get a dog that's been tied out for years and years, they don't even know how to play. So I'm not sure, you know, someone once said, and this is true, pet ownership isn't a right, it's a privilege. And sure, you have a right to own a dog, but with that right comes love and understanding and providing for it. You know, I don't...
Just like a child.
Yeah, I don't understand that. If you have a dog, and we'll get some with the rescue that said, we see it tied out, and we'll say, hey, we'll find a home for your dog. Oh, no, the kids want the dog. The kids are not even playing with the dog. The dog's out there. Those kids have forgotten about that dog a long time ago. So actually, in 3-4 days, a lot of times they give us a call and say, you know, maybe you're right. And we'll find a loving home for them.
Okay.
So, they're part of us. We've domesticated them.
Yeah,
we can't turn our back on them.
Exactly. So now getting to the feline crowd.
Yes.
One thing, you know, you see every now and then are cat leashes, which is one way to get your cat out of the house and outside. The only thing that would worry me, if you were walking down the street with your cat and somebody's got a big dog who doesn't like cats, that could be a problem. So that's one question. And then what I tend to like is, somebody I know has one, those things that look like cat strollers, where you put the cat in this thing and there's like a mesh screen and they sit there and you wheel it down. So at least they're kind of outside, they're enjoying it, but they're not going to run away. They're not going to be a victim of somebody else trying to mess with them. So how do you feel about both of those?
When I walk the dog every morning, we walk Hinkley Lake 3 miles, and I see one of those strollers, I get so excited. And then when there's a baby in it, a human baby, I'm like, oh. But a lot of times there's old dogs in it.
Oh,
and
okay.
So it's so cute.
I like it. Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to the first question. First of all, cats are attached to the place, not the person. Okay. You know, for example, if we moved from this house tomorrow and a new family moved in, my cat would be perfectly happy because they love the place. So I'm not so sure they want to be going out on a leash.
Okay.
You see what I mean? And the other thing that people don't realize, let's take the cat in the camper. Well, if that door opens, I'm telling you right now, that cat's out of there and gone. You will not find that cat, because cats, there's a book called Somewhere a Cat is Watching. They're always around, you just don't see them, okay? That's how well they hide. So they like their little area. Leave them in that little area, okay? The stroller's a good idea, because I don't think they can get out of there.
Yeah.
But it's a mistake to try to take your cat for a ride and not have it in a cat carrier. God forbid you get in an accident, and I guarantee you, that cat will take off because it's afraid.
Yeah.
So yeah, always in a carrier. And I like the idea of a cat stroller,
but not the leash.
Yeah.
Because a leash, they could then, I would think, pick up stuff from the ground that maybe they shouldn't be picking up. It depends if they're a house cat or a...
They're exposed to fleas and feline leukemia and everything else, whereas a cat in the house all the time is not exposed to that.
Okay.
It's just the fact that, you know, the cat's happy as a clam, getting their food, using the litter box. The other thing that people have done, they've put in like a catio. Which is,
I love
we were
that
talking
word.
about that. Catio is like a screened-in enclosure, and some even just push out a window and do that. And so it gets the cat out, you can watch the birds and things like that.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
A catio, what a great word.
Catio.
Okay, well, getting back to your comment about, you know, if you moved out, the cat stayed, they couldn't care less.
Yeah.
And I saw a very funny quote once, and I think even there was a voice in the background pretending, and it said, wait a minute. I own this place, you just live here.
Oh, the cat,
Something like that.
Well,
yeah,
I'll give you an example of that. We moved here from 3 miles away. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the cat that I had, we brought the cat here, walked back there twice. Okay, to the original house.
Yeah. Oh, I know what it was. This is my house. You just live here.
Yeah, and serve
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And serve me. Or I saw another funny post that said a dog wants you to be their master, cat wants to see your resume.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know where.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Anyway, too much of an aside, but
Yeah, right.
okay.